Welcome to Joy Journey Options You Choose. Today, we're going to be presenting on, that's you, Debbie. Thank you,
Yeah,
Caroline, for your patience as we move
there we
into
go.
this. So today we're going to be doing Pillar 3, which is stress and sleep, the Silent Saboteurs. This is a virtual wellness reset workshop for women in midlife. How do we prioritize our rest?
Great.
I want to add a disclaimer that Dr. Delphina Joyce and Joy Journey Options You Choose, as well as Debbie Harbeck, that we are not diagnosing, treating, or curing any medical or mental health conditions. It's always important to reach out to a medical professional for consult on your healthcare professional needs. This workshop is designed to help women navigate hormonal changes with confidence, understanding, and practical strategies for midlife wellness. It's being facilitated by myself, Dr. Delphina Joyce, Messenger of Joy. I am a mind and body wellness practitioner, as well as a doctor in educational leadership. Debbie, would you like to say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Debbie Harbeck. I am a life coach and menopause coach, and I am the host of the Midlife Momentum podcast, helping women make the transition into menopause through this crazy time of life.
Today's session objectives are that we will help everyone to understand and recognize stress and sleep disruptions, what they are. Also, to be able to identify limiting thoughts that can work against one's peaceful rest. And we will be utilizing the strategy of essential components that can be used in order for more peaceful sleep. And at the end, we will be sharing the SOS tool, which is slow down, own your evening, and set boundaries.
I will.
We'll also be looking at the joy mindset throughout. Joy means journey options you choose. It's about your free will and your personal agency. So throughout this workshop, please ask any questions that you may have so that we can best support you and your personal growth.
Are you presenting this, Delphina?
This is you, my friend.
Oh, this is me. Okay. Okay. So, we're here because we're think we're doing all the right things in life. I know I've been in this place where I think I'm doing all the right things in life. And then things, especially as we hit midlife, tend to get off track and we have to reevaluate. And I think midlife and menopause is actually a wake-up call for us. And it's a good thing, even though I know it feels like a bad thing. So this is a time of life where we are being awoken to notice what is happening and that we are now more than ever affected by the stresses around us. And even though that we were kind of cushioned by that stress in pre-menopause, we are now being awoken by these stresses in our lives and being challenged to overcome them and to face them. So I think this is a very powerful time of life where you can take charge, where you can use the stresses in your life. If you're willing to really face them and look at them and address them, you can really take charge of your life. So I am here, and I know Delphine is here to help you feel empowered in doing this. And yeah, I'm just very excited about this phase of life. So we're here in the third pillar, which is sleep and stress management. So today we're going to be talking about how you can give your body better sleep, what that is, and the tools that we can use to lower cortisol. So I'm going to talk about the link between cortisol and sleep shortly, and because we want to support your nervous system as you go through this. So, Delphina.
What are the biggest takeaways related to the four pillars at this time? Debbie, you had the opportunity in the prior workshops to share with us the former pillars. So, what is the biggest takeaway that is related to that at this time, considering we've gained knowledge from the other two pillars?
Mm. So are you asking me that question, or are we asking Carolyn to chime in, or can we all chime into this?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think we can all chime into this if we want to. I know for me, one of the biggest takeaways which has been one of the biggest takeaways in all of this, is that when it comes to metabolism, I think we always think of the food that we're eating and the exercise we're doing and how much we need to do. And we get very caught up in that. And it's just really taking the time to plan and to today, I think my biggest takeaway is yet to come. It's in this particular presentation, which is like, how do we then not make it all about food and exercise, because there's so much more when it comes to metabolism, which is sleep and stress. So, which is surprising to most people. And that's why we're here talking about it. But yeah, that's what I would say. Delphina, do you have anything?
Yeah, my biggest takeaway was from the one that we did on the strength training and muscle is movement. I had no idea that, first of all, 3 to 8% of your muscles are can be lost if you're sedentary because I wasn't doing any resistance or strength training in my overall movement. And so learning that helped me to make some adjustments. And I have actually implemented those tips that we learned. And what I'm looking forward to is in this particular one, looking at sleep, sometimes my body is so freaking hot in the nighttime that I just can't freaking sleep. And even though I want to turn the AC on like 50, but then I'm kind of cold too. So I'm really looking forward to learning about what are some things, knowing that my body is in menopause, what are some specific things that I can do to support it in a loving way so that I get more peaceful rest? Because I will tell you, when I can't sleep, I just get up and go to work and do what I got to do. So I'm looking forward to some other ways of addressing that.
Yeah, that's so important. And that is the biggest thing about what we're going to talk about today, actually, is what you just said. And just
Caroline, did
before
you
we
want to share anything?
Sure, I could share something. I guess it's just to be kind to yourself. I think that's the biggest probably takeaway for me, and just do something,
Mhm.
baby
Mm,
steps, whether it's like have a couple of carrots today or go for a 10-minute walk, or just like even if it's just sitting and just scrolling on your phone for like 15 minutes, like whatever it could be, just to be kind and be in the moment, and just, tomorrow is another day, and
mm,
everyone is going through it, and you could go through it and it'll be fine, in the end.
Mhm. Yeah. Caroline, you make me think about this thing, and we have an upcoming workshop. It's on the difference between self-care and self-love. And when you talk about like being kind to yourself, be loving to yourself. And one of the things that I look forward to learning in that workshop is like the mind and how even though we may not outright express something in verbal loud, you hear the words, that within our mind, we may not be having self-compassion. And that's so powerful because I think about myself in my own, like, why didn't you prioritize that? You needed to get that done, right? Like that whole thought is like, hello, come and gone. You can't do anything
mm,
about it now. So focusing on the past moment's not going to help. What can help in the moment? And it's that love, that kindness, that compassion to myself and to monitor that. Like I don't always think about that. So when you shared, Caroline, thank you so much. It made me think about like, yeah, being kind to yourself, but also what is that self-compassion look like? Because I never got trained on being self-compassionate to myself. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
It's
practice
ongoing.
because we practice being kind to others, and we're always told as little girls you must be kind to everybody else, but never taught to be kind to ourselves and what that even looks like. Like that's a whole, I mean, some people think, if I'm going to take care of myself, it looks like a massage, it looks like this, but eating well, getting to bed on time, exercising, these are all ways to be compassionate and loving to yourself. So, yeah, I just think we need to really think about what that actually looks like for ourselves. So, but yeah, such a good takeaway. I love it.
Yeah, I do too. And learning how to say no to people because we want to be
Mhm.
nice.
Mhm.
Guilty.
Yeah. Yeah.
So important,
So
so
good.
important. So join being's journey options you choose. It's about yourself, your self leadership. It's about your personal agency. It's all about your free will.
Yeah, that's good.
And what does that mean? Free will means that it starts with our own internal self. I hear all the time about, well, I'm not a leader and I don't, I'm just an employee. And that whole that word
Mhm.
just, it's, no, we're greater than that. We're bigger than that. We are the leader of our life. It starts with us first. And in so many ways. And I could go on forever on this, like about your own free will of the gift that you receive. And we could go, joy is holistic. We could go from the spiritual all the way down to the mind, to the body, and to the heart. But what I want us to understand is just the takeaway. The joy is your free will. And you get to choose to show up and do
Yeah.
whatever, however you want.
Yeah. I love that. So, so sleep is and this, I've said this before, but I do think sleep is the most important lifestyle habit for midlife wellness. Only because if you're not getting sleep, you're making probably bad decisions about everything else. If you're not sleeping, you're probably deciding not to exercise. You're probably eating foods you didn't want to eat. You're probably doing things you didn't want to be doing. And just because you're just sleep deprived. So getting sleep is the most important thing. Once you've gotten that, then you can make the decisions you want to make. So I think that's an important thing. And just understanding this is the ideal sleep cycle. So this is ideally what we want is when we go to bed, our our cortisol drops and our melatonin goes up. So these two hormones create the sleep cycle, the melatonin and the cortisol. It's a dance between the two. And so as your melatonin rises, as your cortisol drops, you'll feel like you're getting cold at night, like you're cooling down. So that's a good thing. You're getting ready for sleep. And the cortisol just calms your body as it drops. So less cortisol, more calm. That's a good thing. And then as you get closer to morning, cortisol will go up and that wakes you up and that gets you ready for the day. And that's good. So cortisol, I know it gets a bad rap because we talk about it in, in conjunction with stress, but it's an important part of our cycle. We need cortisol. It gets us going. It wakes us up. So this is the ideal cycle. However, it's not what's happening for everybody. So we're going to talk about that a little bit because we can get into this vicious cycle of sleep and stress and hormones. So all of these things are intertwined. So we get poor sleep, and that can be caused by things like Delphina mentioned, hot flashes. Maybe we have body pain. I know I was having a lot of joint pain that was causing me problems in sleeping, anxiety. So anxiety in the mind that doesn't want to shut down, digestive issues. So if you have any like heartburn, if you have anything going on digestively, constipation, other that can really bother you. And all of this can dysregulate your cortisol. So if you're up during the night with any of these issues and you're awakened by it, your cortisol will spike and you're just dysregulating the whole thing. And then we also have chronic stress. So this is a stress that's persistently present. It's not like the stress you have when you're giving a presentation or on the day you get married. These are like event stresses, which is good. We should be a little bit stressed. We care. But chronic stress is just persistently always humming in the background. It's there all the time and we're not noticing it. And it can affect our weight. Chronic stress just keeps our weight on, because when we're stressed, our body doesn't want to release anything because it's trying to protect itself. It can affect our sleep. It wakes us up during the night, and just our overall mental and physical health. So it can cause us to be more anxious, more depressed, and just have us making, again, probably not so great decisions about our health, and just not taking care of ourselves as we could. And then obviously our hormones are changing. So our progesterone and estrogen, as they drop, that can trigger symptoms that affect sleep, which we mentioned, which is hot flashes. It could be any of the things that I mentioned before. So as you can see, these are things that are all intertwined. You can't just talk about one without talking about the other. So there is a vicious cycle going on there. So here we're talking about stress and sleep. I've put them together because in the last slide, I just showed you how intertwined they are. I can't really separate them out. They have a lot to do with each other. So more than exercise and food, as I mentioned, getting good quality and quantity of sleep, so both, is the most important lifestyle habit. And that will get you into your best sense of well-being. So if we're going to start with a good night's sleep, so meaning if you're not falling asleep well, first of all, that's not a good thing. You want to be able to fall asleep. You want your body temperature to go down. You want to get to sleep, feel sleepy. That's important. If you're getting up during the night once or twice and just not able to get back to sleep, that can be an issue. And also belly fat. Like this is all going to increase your cortisol, which is going to increase your chances of belly fat. And that's something I know we don't want so much of. So what we want to focus on is a really good night's sleep, 7 to 8 hours. That's what we're looking at for most people. There are outliers, but most people, 7 to 8 hours is good. Less or even more than that is not a good thing. So if you're 9, 10 hours, that might not be a good thing either, because that might indicate there's something else going on. So that's also something to be aware of. So if you get this amount of sleep, a good amount of sleep, good quality sleep, where you're sleeping through the night relatively undisturbed, you're regulating your appetite hormones, meaning you're going to have less cravings, less chance of eating the foods you don't want to eat. You're going to regulate your cortisol and your thyroid hormones. It's going to make it easier to lose weight, to let your body let go of the weight. You're going to improve your mood and reduce your anxiety, which is so important to make all those good decisions. Like I mentioned before, you're going to sharpen your focus. You're going to reduce brain fog. You're going to be there, much more aware. And you're going to protect against the big lifestyle diseases, of course, diabetes, heart disease, cancer is another one. So these are things we want to be aware of, because sleep impacts all of it. With good sleep, you can really transform your health. And Delphina.
Think about sleep challenges. What feels like the biggest obstacle? Your thoughts, your routine, or managing stress, or something else?
I definitely think that the root of everything is your thoughts. That is just the way I see it. The root of everything is what you think about everything. And if the more you have these negative thoughts swirling through your head, the more anxious you're going to be, the more stressed you're going to be. So your thoughts really are the root, and you do have control. A lot of people think they don't have control over their thoughts, but if you really take time to be aware of what's going on in your mind, you can start, like, just like cleaning your teeth, you can start cleaning your mind and start like cleaning out these thoughts that are like, oh, that's interesting. This thought is causing me a lot of stress right now. What would I rather be thinking? Because a lot of these thoughts are optional.
Yeah.
Carolyn says her thoughts as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's interesting with for me is I agree, it's definitely my thoughts, but it's more of like and to be 100% transparent and vulnerable in this moment is like I don't have my thyroid, and so I take a levothyroxine. And when I take my higher dosage, I have more energy. And so when it comes time to go to sleep, I notice I am wide awake.
Mm.
I have my routine. I'm gonna go to sleep at this time. I actually eliminate all light. I mean, I turn off my surge protectors, phone, everything, because I like it really dark and there's only natural light if there's any light coming in. And I have learned in some instances to stop my thoughts. And I'm like, good night. Good night. But then there's other times when my mind is solving so many problems. I am like, I think I'm going to get up and I am going to take advantage of all this energy and all this problem solving and all the like my mind will like take off and I solved a world problem. And when that happens, I have found myself twice now getting out of bed, going to my office, doing whatever because it's not like a to-do task, right? Like my to-do tasks seem to me like, okay, tomorrow is your to-do, you're going to do that. But this is something where all of a sudden I get all these ideas. And so at this point, I don't want to train myself to be like, oh, when I can't sleep, I'm just going to go work. I don't want to train myself. But I have seen that happen twice. And so I would say it's really important to remind myself that when my thoughts, my energy is just wide awake, I haven't decided if I want to keep tossing and turning because I am awake. I'm not tired to get up and
Mm.
just work, or I'm just going to continue to like toss and turn and do that. And I haven't decided yet because like I said, I don't want to create a trained response. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I don't want to feel frustrated in bed because I'm
Yeah.
just not tired.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things there, Delphina, like related to your medication, talking to your doctor and seeing, like, hey, I'm wide awake when I go to bed. What can I do about that? Because
Hmm.
that's not helpful. So,
Hmm.
is there a different time I can take my medication? Is there something else I can do that will help that? And then, just what you just said, there have been studies that have shown that you need to get out of bed. If you feel wide awake, you need to get out of bed because, or
Oh,
else you're going to associate your bed with not being able to sleep. And that's not a good thing.
that's
You
so
want to
reassuring.
have this association of bed with sleepiness, with, being asleep. Or else,
Mhm.
if you really can't sleep, you get out of bed. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Well, that's reassuring because I feel like after tossing and turning, I feel like I'm losing this powerful surge of whatever. Like,
Mm.
just get up. You're not tired anyways. When you're ready, you're gonna sleep. So I feel like it's honoring my body and my mind and where it's at. It's very different. It's
Mm.
very different from like, oh, I just can't. I need a rest. My mind is going crazy. No, no, no. It's not that.
Mm.
It's a totally
No.
different thing. Because I've learned how to tame that. Like when that happens, I
Okay.
tame it. I'm like, good night, girl. Is this me, myself, or I? Who am I talking to? Good night. Carol,
I
anything you'd
love
like
that.
to add?
No, I like how you give yourself the self-talk. and tell yourself good night. Yeah, I'm gonna try that. Because I could like fall asleep, like I'm falling asleep on the couch, or I'm falling asleep reading a book, and then I turn the lights off and I get all comfortable, and then I start thinking of things,
Mhm.
and then I'm up for another half an hour or another hour, you know? Yeah,
Yeah. I
that's
know for
challenging.
me, what's worked, it has been I've listened to these like nighttime stories. That has worked to like take my mind out of my head and listen to something. And it's just like Headspace has some of them. I know Calm has some of them. These different apps have them. But that really helped me fall asleep when it was my mind that was keeping me awake. Yeah. That's just something that worked for me. But or sitting down and just writing it out sometimes works. But yeah, so many good things. So we'll move on. These are some thoughts that I know some of us think sometimes that can stop us from sleeping. Like I said, like we were talking about thoughts being an issue, thoughts are huge. They can really stop us from doing things. So I've already heard from people saying, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Like I don't have time to sleep. There's so much to do. But if you're going to do anything, you need to sleep. I mean, that's just part of life. You can't not sleep. So that thought isn't helpful. The other one, sleep is a luxury. It's another one I've heard like, yeah, you must be lucky to get sleep. Sleep, I don't have time to sleep. But you need to in order to make better choices. Like we think that by not sleeping, we're going to get more done, but that's not true. So we do need to sleep. We will decide things better. We'll have better ideas if we do. And if I can't sleep, it's just menopause. And that's also a really good one, is just because we blame it on menopause. So therefore we're just gonna leave it up to menopause to decide if we sleep or not. But really, it's up to us. Like, yes, menopause is a challenge, but we're not powerless. We can do things to actually help ourselves sleep. It's not just because our hormones are changing, we can't do anything. And that's why we're here. And every week we've been here is because there are things we can do. So that's always good to know. And Delphina.
Yeah, so looking at the elements of a solid sleep routine, which one feels most challenging for you to implement? And we had already discussed, like on a personal level, what are some of the things that keep us up and how to address them and support ourselves in a loving, kind way. So when I think about the elements of solid sleep, what is the most challenging one for you personally to implement?
Hmm. Well, I know we're going to talk about that one shortly, but for me, and I think for so many other people, it's the screens. The screens are one of the things that can help us if we put our screens away well in advance of sleep, like 60 minutes, then we can really positively impact our sleep. But it is something that is so challenging for most of us because we use our phones for so many things. Um, but yeah, and they're right beside us, chances are, in the bedroom. So yeah, that's been the hardest.
Yeah, yeah. Caroline, anything you'd like to share?
Um, Probably just the right temperature, maybe getting a bit, I guess, comfortable beforehand. Yeah,
Mm, yeah, that's a great.
yeah, yeah. But that's what I would like to implement better. I've been sleeping with a fan that's helping. Maybe the white noise is helping as well to
Mhm.
lull me to sleep. But yeah, that, probably that would be the most challenging.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
because of hot flashes, Carolyn, or like your body temperature is warmer than
Um,
usual, or
yeah, no, no, not so much hot flashes, just I guess I just feel warmer with
Mm,
I guess the blankets. But I
okay?
can't say it's hot flashes, it's just yeah. And then I realize, okay, I'm gonna go downstairs and lower the AC and then put the fan on and yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Because
How about you,
I
Delphina?
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So,
Sorry, no, that's it.
yeah, I really like what you're saying, Caroline, because like for me in the daytime, I have my house at 80. I'm in Arizona. And I have my house at 80 in the daytime, and I'm perfectly fine at 80. I have my fan on. I'm good to go. And I have to make that adjustment because in the nighttime, oh, no way am I going to sleep in 80. Like I have to like bring it all the way down and I it varies, but I can be comfortable somewhere around 72, but I also like to sleep with a nice soft blankie. And so because I like
Mm,
my nice soft blankie, sometimes that means I need to be at 68. And so
mm-hmm.
it's challenging mainly because it takes time for that transition of the house to get cool like that. And also for me to just feel, like, okay, once I relax, for some reason, once I relax, I think my body's hotter. I don't know if that's true or not, but it seems like that. Um, and so that would be the challenging one, the phone stuff, I turn everything off and I tell myself stop, and then it becomes just a physical challenge.
Mm. Okay. Okay. I like all these because we're going to talk about them. So these are the elements of a good sleep routine. These are the things we want to do. And the things that this is backed by science. I did not make these things up. So getting to bed and waking up at the same time, so important. That is so important. And I would add to this, and I don't know, maybe I did in another page, but morning sunlight in your eyes actually helps. So getting outside and having the morning sun hit your eyes is actually a really important part of regulating your cortisol. So that can be added to that. Turning off the electronics an hour before bed, caffeine, stopping it at noon. If you do drink tea or coffee, that's ideal, or any caffeinated drinks for that matter. Eliminating alcohol. I know this is not a popular one, but the more you can, like, if you can really get rid of alcohol, that it just pays dividends. So that is, it's huge. Keeping the room cool, so a lot cooler than you said, Delphina. We're talking about like 65. So like cool, it's got to get cooler. I know it's got to be hard in Arizona to crank up the air conditioning to that point. Not good for the environment, I'm sure. But yeah, getting really cool. And to your point, Carolyn, too, a good trick for some people is, which is counterintuitive, is to take a warm bath or warm shower before bed. It actually starts to cool your body down. So interesting. If you take a cold shower, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna warm up. But if you take a warm bath or warm shower, it actually like cools your body down. So that's another thing you could do. And yeah, anything you like to do to wind down that doesn't involve a screen, reading a book, journaling, anything like that. Those are all important things you could try. Okay, Delphina, you're you're muted.
Sorry, I'm talking to myself here. I'm all, yeah, I agree. No. So, what's one small step you could take tonight to improve your sleep environment or routine? And one small step. So, for me, I'm just, this sounds, I kind of sometimes just get out of my bedroom and go sleep in the living room, but that's not really good for my partnership. But, I guess the small step is being kind to myself, like you said, Caroline, is really listening to my body and my overall wellness and doing what I need to do. And it varies
Mm,
in the moment. So I learned, Debbie, from you that, there are studies that when you're not tired, like get up. It's okay. Because then I'm beating myself up like, no, you need to sleep. It's time to sleep, but my body's like, yeah, but I'm not tired. And I
Yeah,
have that
and that's
internal
incredibly
battle.
stressful. It's stressful to always have that thought. I need to sleep. I need to get 7 hours of sleep. I need to get to bed. That's stressful, right? So just get up and do your thing and do something that makes you sleepy. If it's like I said, reading a book, writing, try not to watch TV or like some sort of action film if you do get up. But yeah. How about you, Carolyn? Is there something small you think you could do tonight?
Yeah, probably lowering the AC a little bit more.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I like all those ideas, like be kind and, you know, but probably maybe an hour before bed, lowering the AC a bit. So, because I live in a
Mhm.
cottage type style house, so upstairs is always warmer. So yeah, maybe I'll try that tonight so that it's an ideal temperature. Because I like sleeping with
Yeah.
blankets too.
Yes, so do
Yeah,
I. I always have to
yeah.
have something on me. Yeah,
Hmm.
I love that. Good. And for me, it's again, it's still about the screens. Like, I feel like when I have conscious control over my screen usage, I feel much more powerful too. So, but I keep having to remind myself, like, I find myself in this situation constantly of like, stop it. Like, kind of like Delphina was saying before, just like stop it, just like stop it. Maybe offload some of my apps still that need to go. Yeah, those things. So that's for me. All right, let's move on to the next one. So stress. Yeah, stress is a big, and again, it's intertwined with all of this. It really does put a wrench in our sleep. So we need to be more aware of it and see what we can do about it. So did you want to go through this slide, Delphina?
Sure, sure. So how stress hijacks your sleep. So these are you had shared, Debbie, that there's four of them. And so there's two specific right here, and then the next one will be the other two. But stress hijacks our sleep by elevating our cortisol. And you had talked about that before on one of the workshops. You talked about how cortisol is actually good. It's what gives us motivation. It's what helps us get out of bed, right? But elevated cortisol can have the negative response in that stress, which helps create the cortisol, it keeps us in that fight or flight hormone mode. So when we think about our brain, we have the three levels of where we operate. There's the front, the executive, and then there's the back. And I think about in my educational experience where we do like, here's the brain, we've got this area, we've got this area in the front area. And we want to be operating at our executive level. And when we think about the fight, it's like I need to get up. And it is like I got to get something done. I've got things I've got to do. I've got to get these things done, right? And there's also the freeze, which we didn't talk about, where we can't sleep and things are just moving, but we're not asleep. We're just laying there, frozen, you know? And so these things, when we sleep, when we're going into our rest mode, they naturally drop. The cortisol naturally drops. And if we are in a stress mindset and we are worried and concerned about all kinds of things, then it will have the potential to hijack our sleep because we're concerned and worried about all kinds of things. And then the racing thought, man, this one I totally resonate with. I understand this so keenly. It's when there's the consistent, like when I want, and I think you already talked about this, but like when I go to sleep, before I actually move into my space of in my bed with my soft, cozy blankie, I have already closed shop on my work, meaning I have my little, handy dandy notebook. And in my handy dandy notebook, I have already put all my information out because if I don't, I know my mind at a subconscious level will be solving all these things about what I need to do tomorrow. So that elevated cortisol, the racing thoughts, those are two elements that can 100% hijack your sleep, and they come because of stress.
Mm.
So there,
Okay.
you want to do this one or you want?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You're doing a good
Okay,
job.
so there are two other specific elements that can hijack your sleep, and that's physical tension and hypervigilance. So physical tension comes when your body, it's, I don't know if you've ever, so for me, I love driving, but in a former role, I took three freeways to get to work. And what I learned later, I didn't know this when I was going to work every day because I loved the work that I did. I loved the role. But when I was driving to work, I was consistently like this on the steering wheel with my shoulders up and my butt. But I didn't know, like, I didn't even notice it. I was just, doing my trek to work. And it wasn't that physical tension of consistently being like this. I didn't realize that transition until I moved into that remote work at home and I didn't have the drive. So then when I went back to do the drive, then I started to notice like, wow, relax. Relax. We're driving smoothly. We're safe. Everything's kosher. And I could see and feel because I specifically told myself, be aware of this, because I could see my shoulders raised. And that was physical tension that was consistent. And so once I became aware of it, I had to change it. So think about when you're going to sleep. Some people, when they're worried and concerned, they're locking their jaw and that's creating tension within their body in that area, which we may not even be aware of that unless we pay attention to that. And then the hypervigilance is this is a stress that is because you're consistently alert. It's like so it makes me think about when people have been in chronic stress positions where they're inundated all the time. You got a deadline, you got to do this. This is what needs to happen. And so the mind and the body begins to always be like hypersensitive to everything because they're consistently being hit with things, right? That's what hypervigilance is. And that's one of the other elements that can hijack your sleep.
I love that. Thank you. And so that begs the question, which of
Yeah.
these stress responses do you most recognize in your sleep? Which one prevents you from sleeping most often? What about you, Delphina? Is there one that prevents you? I know you've experienced all of them. I think we've all experienced all of these things, but it's like which one is the most common for us?
Yeah, I've never paid attention, Debbie, to what's the most common. Like I've never actually thought like, hey, this is reoccurring. This is a pattern here. No, I've never actually thought about those things, but I would wonder about the whole elevated cortisol, mainly because I am at my core a fairly active, energetic person. And because I'm active and energetic, might that place me in a higher with a higher level of cortisol because I am more awake and I notice things, I see things like that's my general operation mode. That's my mode of operation. So I'm going to pay attention and see which one might be doing that. I know racing thoughts, but I've learned how to I've tamed that thing. So we'll see. And the physical
Okay.
tension, I've seen, sometimes I'll get into relax, then I'll bite my tongue until I'll be like, oh, I need to keep my teeth closed so that I don't bite my tongue. So then now I notice like I'm trying to keep my mouth closed, and then that causes. So I'm not sure. We'll see.
Okay. Okay. How
Caroline,
about you,
anything you'd
Carolyn?
like
Is
to
there
share?
something you
Yeah, I would say the one that stands out the most is probably racing thoughts, but then maybe a little bit of all four sometimes, depending.
well,
Like in the
yeah.
winter, I find I'm more like my shoulders are a little bit more achy. Could be the cold because I'm usually outside most of the day, or hypervigilance, like just depending on the week or whatever. I don't know, but mostly racing thoughts. I would say that's the most prominent. Not all the time though, but yeah,
Yeah.
most of the time. Yeah.
I would say that for me too would be the racing thoughts. And you just mentioned the physical tension too because of the cold. And I noticed the past few winters actually how tense my shoulders, how sore my shoulders are because I do this, even though I'm bundled up. I'm still like my body is braced for the cold. So it really does affect you. So that's a really interesting point that you brought up. And hypervigilance, I think that for me, that's something that only shows up if I'm really, really stressed or I've got something I really have to get done, like a presentation or like anything else, like big, then I'm hypervigilant. But that's more rare. I think racing thoughts is most common. So okay. So basically, the vicious cycle comes back. The more stressed you are, the more your body needs restorative sleep. Yet stress makes it incredibly difficult. So we talked about that before. It's kind of a vicious cycle. So the best thing to do is to get yourself into a good sleep routine and calming yourself before you go to bed. So if you notice stress is what's interfering with your sleep, if that's the thing, I mean, there's other things that can interfere, but stress is a big one. So it's just calming your mind down before bed. So just getting the mind into that place. So like I say here, the racing thoughts again. So it's just getting those thoughts out of your brain and onto paper can really, really help. It doesn't have to make any sense. Like it could just be scribbles. It could just be brain, like I call it a brain dump. Just do a brain dump and get it all out. It's so cathartic and so important that we slow down the mind and let it relax. So yeah, that's what you can do. And of course, anything like meditation and that, but I think a lot of people find meditation very hard because it's hard to calm the mind. And it's kind of like to meditate, you need to calm the mind, but to calm the mind, you need to meditate. So it's kind of one or the other. So what strategies have you found helpful to support your sleep when sleep saboteurs are at play? So any strategies that you found helpful? Carolyn, do you have any strategies that you
I do.
helpful?
Reading. I find reading really calms me. Like I'll read before bed, and then if I'm having trouble sleeping, it's been a half an hour or whatever, I'll get out, I'll turn my little, like I have a reading light or my light, and I'll just read a couple of more chapters and eventually, because the mind's racing, so you just need to change the mind a bit. And it helps me get sleepy again. Yeah.
Reading is a good one. Delphina?
Yeah, I agree. I like reading too. Reading, depending on what I'm reading, it'll put me to sleep. Or audio, like if I'm listening to an audio. But my favorite is a nice shower. Just a nice,
Yeah.
cool shower, and then boom, soft blankie. Good night. See ya mañana.
That's a good one too. Yeah. I didn't, for me, the most helpful thing, like I mentioned before, was when my mind was racing, was to listen to a good night story. And these stories are not sensical, they're just descriptive. There's no point to them. That's what I like about them, but they're just said in a very calm voice, with very just like outdoor sounds. It's very relaxing, and that really helped me when my mind is out of control. So these are the stress busting toolkit. Okay, did we miss a page somewhere? I don't know. I'm looking to see. Oh, I thought I missed something. I think I missed like there was a page with all the things to do.
I think
Did we
that's
look
what
at that?
that's what that kid is.
Oh, okay. That's what that kit is. Okay. Okay. So this was the page, but you transformed it into a kit,
I,
which I like. Looks good.
I
So yeah, these are,
transformed it into a kid.
yeah, no, it looks good. Looks a lot better than I had it. So yeah, I already mentioned the brain dump. So that's a really important thing. I think you can, if you have just a really ugly copybook with a pen beside your bed, that can do really good because you don't want to care about what you write. Planning your day. So if the next day is racing through your mind, take 5 minutes before you go to bed, plan it out, schedule it, put it in your calendar so that you feel like it's off of your head. The 4-7-8 breathing, that's something I really like. The 8 being the longer exhale. So you always want to take the exhale is the relaxing part of the breath. So you take a shorter inhale, you hold it for 7, and then you exhale for 8. So that's where that is important. You can change the pattern, but make the exhale longer. Morning light, I already mentioned, that really helps regulate your cortisol. And that's been proven just at hitting your eyes. It's amazing like how important our eyes are in our hormones. So yeah, really good thing. Pre-bed snack. So if you really have to eat something before bed, because sometimes hunger wakes us up. So have something that has no sugar in it, first of all, something that's not processed ideally, and just have high protein snacks before bed, very small snack. That's ideal. All right. So is there a favorite strategy of yours, and which one would it be? So for me, for me, it's the planning. It's all in the planning, like getting it out of my head, knowing what I'm going to do tomorrow. It calms me down. It's like, oh, I don't have to think about it. It's down on paper. So that's mine. How about you, Carolyn? I see you shaking your head.
Yeah, I like that one. I also like the brain dump too, because many thoughts sometimes go through my brain. So yeah, just
Mhm.
writing it down, and you know, you wake up in the morning and you see it, and or just knowing, okay, I'll be there in the morning, even if you wake up and you forget about it, it's fine, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really good one too. Yeah, I
I
like that
like
one.
that, Caroline.
Cool.
You have hope for tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's always something to do. Yeah,
That's
my
right.
favorite strategy is the joy. Journey options you choose. I get to
Mm.
choose because it varies. I like to be eclectic, and some days I want to do a brain dump, and other days I'm gonna try what you said, Debbie, that there's no actual like the stories that you said. There's no actual, it's not suspense or anything. It's a very gentle voice. It's almost like a sleep meditation. So I
Yes.
think I'm gonna experience that and see, because I already know that listening to audios or reading, like listening to audios, it's already partially turning my mind off to sleep. But when I read, for some reason, I'm like blah blah blah. We'll
Yeah.
see, we'll
There's
see.
something about it, eh? It's so good. So good. Okay. And then we have just having this SOS kind of, it's the toolkit, but I just named it SOS. So the first one is slowing down your breath. I think that is so important. Even if you wake up during the night and you're racing, just calming your breath down can be the first stop, and that might just solve it. Otherwise, it's just owning your evenings, taking control and setting boundaries. So these two kind of go together. You've got to set up your evening to make it like sleep or wake up proof. That sleep actually happens. So whether it's journaling, getting to bed at the regular time, turning down the AC, whatever it is, like decide on what those things are that you need to do in the evening, and take that hour before bed. Take an hour when to get ready for bed. It's so good. Like brush your teeth, put on your pajamas, take your shower or bath or whatever it is, but just have it be like ritualized. That really helps. And just setting boundaries. Like for me, that screen time boundary is so good. Saying no to things. Sometimes we have to say no to people. They want to do things later in the day, and we're like, no, that interferes with my bedtime, and I'm serious. So it's not nice to say, but sometimes you just have to, like, it really does. Okay, I don't do that all the time. There's some things I really want to do, but sometimes you just have to say no, because yeah, bedtime is like non-negotiable. So that's it. See you laughing there. Good. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I was laughing, and this will be my key takeaway is what's one key takeaway you integrate into your wellness? So I was laughing because I think about like that whole boundary and that no thing, right? So I've got friends that are night owls. Yes, come on, we're gonna, and I'm like, that's my soft time. That's when I have my cozy. And I think about my friends, and some of my friends are like, "You're not old." And I'm like, "Oh no, it's not about being old. It's about being loving to this beautiful queen right here. She loves her Z's." So I was laughing about that because I just had a conversation with one of my friends, and I was saying like, "Hey, like 10:30 is like late. That means we're gonna be out till like midnight. Like I'm already want to be in bed by that time." And just laughing at that conversation about this opportunity and going like, "Oh yeah, that's like not in my schedule."
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
So
How
the
about
key
you,
takeaway was
Carolyn?
like continue to honor my boundaries and be comfortable with self-love for this beautiful queen right here.
I love it. Yeah,
You are the queen.
we're all the queens. The SOS really is a one key takeaway. Yeah, setting the boundaries, just planning, like, not, well, yeah, I guess planning your bedtime, it's important like every other moment of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. We don't think of planning these things,
Hmm.
but I'm just such a plan fan. Maybe that's what I'll call it, but everything I think should be planned. Um, even sex, by the way. I think even that you got to plan, right? If I think, but bedtime is one of those things too. So yeah, planning is my key takeaway. I think it's one of the best things you can do for your wellness overall. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, so
So what could
I'm
be
going
a
to
joy
interject real
crasher?
quick. And I'm going to interject, Debbie, because this is
Mhm.
something I learned from, and then we're going to hit on this joy crasher, right? So I learned for a couple, they have been married over 50 years. And it just made me just laugh, smiles of joy because I was having a conversation with wife and husband. We're just chatting, small talk. And she said to me, one of the key components of our strong marriage is our Wednesday and Friday sexy time. And she said, we know it is part of our, and it was it was like comical because, but also a huge blessing because they prioritize it. And it is important that that time. So I think that in a relationship in your marriage, that those are things that are, I do believe that planning is important, especially as you get older and you begin to age. Your hormones change, and so your sexual drive changes as well. And
Mm.
so making sure that within that relationship that those things are honored and they are prioritized for whatever that means for you and your partner. So I agree wholeheartedly for me. And this thing about the joy crasher, if we're going to integrate that, since we're talking about sexy time, so a joy crasher could be the hormones that, I'm just not really in the mood. And so learning to adjust to that and what could help me to be in the mood, whether it's like I said, I love to take my shower, right before bed, a cold shower, that makes me just feel better. So understanding that a joy crasher could be my actual drive, my hormone drive based on that. And
Okay.
exercising is really good because yeah.
Yeah, it does. It helps. What could be a joy crasher for you, Carolyn? Do you have something that could crash? It could be an
Yeah.
obstacle to good
Probably my
sleep
my
or
own
stress.
mind, like my own thoughts,
Mm.
I think sometimes it's challenging, and I think everyone goes through that too. So I think that would be like your own thoughts, the racing thoughts. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a
Oh,
really good one.
mhm.
I would agree. I would agree with that, Carolyn, too. For me, too, is that the thoughts are what get us off track when we start thinking things, and if we're not sleeping well enough, our thoughts are worse, and those intentional thoughts don't come in so much. We start just believing all these other thoughts that we have. So yeah, they can definitely crash in and make things worse. So I like that one. Um, and
Yeah.
here we
So
have, yeah.
Yeah, so we're coming to the end. It's 12 o'clock. We want to thank you for your investment. These were the objectives. Our goal for this joy workshop and understanding the stress saboteurs. Thank you, Debbie. You did a fabulous job. But we committed to having some knowledge delivered, some skills, some strategy in the SOS tool. And as we move into this end, we've had the opportunity to engage and discuss. And so we've done it. I believe we've met these objectives. And then we also infuse the joy mindset in between. And joy meaning journey options you choose. It's about your free will, it's about your personal agency and your ability to personalize your need. And as Caroline, you said, it's about being kind to yourself and about loving yourself. So we have a gift for you. We want to thank you for
Mhm.
investing in yourself and for loving yourself and caring for yourself. And this is the stress busting toolkit for peaceful nights. It gives you some strategies, and here are the strategies. They're stress busting strategies. We went over each one of these and what they mean, and you'll be receiving this along with the recording of this particular workshop. And there's a little bit more. There's the SOS in there. And then we also want to thank you for your time. We want you to find your joy, whatever that is for you, because the quality of your sleep will I think I need some sleep. The quality of your sleep directly impacts your energy levels, your immune function, your cognitive abilities, and your long-term health outcomes. And what we want for sure is for you to have peaceful Z's. And if you'd like to follow up and do any additional work, that is absolutely an option for you. So what we would like is for you to complete this. I now feel as if. Debbie?
I now feel as if I can turn off my screen before bed tonight, an hour before. Do
Caroline?
you
Yes.
have one?
Yeah, I now feel as if I have control
Mm.
in all like my thoughts and providing a, the best sleep that I could get
Thank
and
you.
telling myself go to bed, go to sleep.
Yes, go to
But
bed.
lovingly,
Yeah,
lovingly.
lovingly. That's right. That's
Dearest
right.
Caroline, we must go to sleep now.
That's right.
Yes, lovingly and firmly.
Firmly, yeah, yeah. So I
For
now
sure.
feel as if I am absolutely grateful. I love when I have the opportunity to connect with individuals and, just spending this time with you, Debbie, and this time with you, Caroline, is uplifting and encouraging to me. So I now feel as if I am encouraged and uplifted. So thank you both very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Delphina. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, so thank you for your time. And you have opportunities if you wanted to reconnect, you can reconnect with Debbie, you can reconnect with me, whatever we can do to support your health and wellness.